All right, so this is our second time playing Jeskai on stream since the new set dropped. I really like Jeskai control still. I know there's a lot of people playing Esper, but I just genuinely think there's such good finishers in these colors. And Deafening Clarion's very reasonable. And I get that this costs 5 instead of 4, but honestly, the Destroy Artifacts and Enchantments clause on this is still very relevant. I also think that Ixalan's binding is kind of in a reasonable spot in the Crisis format, so... in addition to Niv-Mizzet, this deck also gets to play things like Crackling Drake out of the sideboard, which is a very relevant threat. So I still really like this control build, especially because it can close out games quickly. So let's just go ahead and dive into some matches with it. See how it continues to be. That's Nexus. Where's control? The border did change as well. So I made my card border pink also. I don't think Azure's Gateway is very good. I think it's worse than both Search for Azcanta and Treasure Map on average. Because the important thing to remember about Azure Gateway is that it's card selection, it's not card advantage. That's true, I did also change my color in Twitch chat. I think this hand probably isn't good enough. It's missing a color, and if they're playing a deck where Deafening Clarion isn't good, we're going to be really poor off. Oh, you know what? I should totally change my color on Twitter. I forgot I could do that. I need to get a high quality headshot taken with the hair and beard, so I can use it for my Twitter profile. I think I can. Oh, this hand is not good. Just mulligan hands that are bad. All right, this deck on 27 lands still. I feel like I registered 27 lands last time. 26. All right. 26 and 3 search. Gates, huh? Yeah, I'm actually gonna go ahead and concede here. I should have conceded before I showed them the Glacial Fortress. This is a matchup where we are very much the aggro deck, so we need to board a little bit accordingly. I'm actually like 1 card short here, huh? I have to bring 1 more card back in. None of these cards are very good. I guess I bring a Cleansing Nova. Cleansing Nova is fine, I guess, right? Like, destroying artifacts and enchantments is occasionally going to be relevant. Justice Strike is good versus Ram. That's true. Let's leave a couple of Justice Strikes in. I agree with you. Warden's also good for that. I'm gonna trim the precog. Let's do that. Forgot they do have threats in the 4-color deck, right? We'll see. I technically conceded quick enough that they could be Nexus of Gates, but I think that build has creatures post-board too. This is a matchup where Ixalan's binding's very good though. This hand is excellent. Just like when my control deck has a curve. Justice reigns from above. The Esper deck must have been good. We finally climbed out of the percentages solidly. Alright, looking for lands. Just stay right there. Huge tracts of lands. think I just binding this, honestly. This feels bad if they sneak in... If they sneak in the enchantment draw this next turn, but I really want to land here. That's super unfortunate. If I'd have played Teferi and Tuck there, it'd be in a great spot. Now they get to have counter spells up. I think I just have to head to the Space Jam here, unfortunately. They get negated or Disdainful Stroke now. Yeah. Missing that 5th land was a pretty big deal. I wonder if there should just be 27 lands in this deck, honestly. Thanks, Hurley. And that's sometimes magic happens like that, right? That's why people often like to hammer on. One of the things you should break yourself of if you're learning how to evaluate magic decks is just focusing on the record that you have with decks isn't really a good way to look at how they're going to how the decks did, because a match like that isn't very telling of the power level of the deck, right? We had a game where we mulliganed and then didn't play into a game where we stumbled and didn't really get to play because we stumbled. And that's definitely part of Magic, but you have to the number of games you have to play to weed out variants like that is incredibly large, and usually we're not playing that many games. Them not having Hallowed is really good for us. Alright. What I was gonna say is them not having their enchantment there is great for us. Had a nightmare that Twitch changes bits, so you had to cheer 1,000 bit above, that I couldn't cheer with every message. We got you, Beetle. We got you. That's a Teferi. Alright, so we're still looking for more lands here, right? Perfect. I'm not going to jam the Teferi into play, just because they could have a Frilled Mystic here. Good luck in the rest of your matches today, GD. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good weekend. I should have Chemisters incited there. I think as long as I'm hitting lands, I'm just gonna pass holding up these absorbs. It's possible I should jam Teferi and then shock a land in, but if they have Frilled Mystic, I feel pretty bad. His heart cheer is cute and goes well with the channel. Well, thank you, Princess Silver, for the biddies. Alright, they have a 4/4. I think I just let that happen. Then I'm going to go ahead and Chemisters, ditch the Clarion. Ixalan's Binding's a pretty good hit here. This card's probably just great in this matchup in general, honestly. There's only 4 cards in my bench, which are a little bit off from flipping Search. I didn't board out the Clarions because this is game 1. I'm going to tick this up so I can hold a counterspell up this turn. I'm going to go ahead and put this into play tapped. Ditch the extra search. going on, T. Cloudy?
I'm getting too old for this.
With the pile of counter spells that I have plus Ixalan's Binding, we might end up being in an okay spot here. Depending on how much interaction they have. I'm one land away from... Do I want to Binding this Krasis, or do I want to save the Binding for their Wilderness Reclamation? I feel like I probably want to Binding this Krasis, huh? You want to blink my search for Azcanta. That's fine. Aaron, thanks for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a good one. I think I'm going to start by plussing this. My final version of the Reanimator deck can be found on my Stream Decker page. Everything's very organized around here. We always try to make sure you have access to the information that we know you want. The hair dyeing definitely took longer than I was expecting. They are playing Frilled Mystics. That's good to know. Cleansing Nova. I'm going to bin that. Makes my rail better. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. Teferi's going to untap a couple of my lands. Still have counter spells available. The Warden's actually going to be pretty good here, right? Like, it's going to give me a threat with which to actually close the game out, which is nice. Game 1, they should have a couple more blinks in their deck, but other than that, they shouldn't have too many ways to take this binding off the table. Yeah, I was there for almost 4 hours yesterday. They started about 10 o'clock, and I left at almost 2. Love the hair. Well, thanks for being here and supporting my crazy hair and the other things we do rampaging. Welcome back for the second month in a row. How do we feel about this? This seems pretty good. Seems reasonable. Lyra's coming in here just as like a 5/5 for 5 that attacks and blocks. Like, being able to pressure them out of the game is important. We're going up to 9 counter spells post board, which is pretty reasonable. Thanks everyone for hanging out here today, by the way. Hope you're having a great Sunday wherever you're at. Thanks for dropping in. If you're new, I stream full-time on Twitch. I'm here Monday through Friday, usually about 8 to 4. If you work during that time period and can't catch me live, you can also find lots of great replays on my website and my YouTube channel. Basically everything I stream gets archived to one of those 2 places. Detroit! Thank you for the 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. They ditched Wilderness Reclamations. They must be digging for lands, right? That card's really important to them in general. The Esper Reanimator deck was really good. I think we won almost every match we played. The final list we settled on felt very reasonable. It was basically like Esper control with ways to win the game, which is like all you can really ask for. Alright, because I have the Ixalan's Binding in hand, I'm just going to get this Crackling Drake into play. They have Absorb in their deck. Interesting. It feels like a win getting an Absorb use there for me. They must have more counter spells, right? I think it's important that I jam threats here ASAP, so that way I can try and get something down and then start holding up interaction. They have 5 cards in there. Do I want to Ixalan's Binding the Search for Azcanta? I almost feel like I do. No, we're going to Ixalan's Binding that one, actually.
Sorry, let's skip to the...
Alright, do you have a Negate? Let's find out. We really want to draw land here. We wanted to draw land so that way I could play my search out as well here, but it is what it is.
Now what?
Tumble Dwyer, thanks for the tier 2 sub. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. Whatever I play is probably getting countered, right? This might not get countered, so I'm going to start with this. I need to hit land drops here, though. And I don't have any counter spells to hold up, so I think I just need to jam. They're going to flip this search over and kind of run away with things on us. It's possible that if I get, like, Niv or Ral going here, we could be okay. I think there's a good chance they have... I think there's a good chance they just have 4 Absorbs in their main deck. Although Syncopate too. Wow, they bricked on Azcanta. That's good for us. Would love to draw a blue or red source here so we can play Niv-Mizzet out. Fantastic. Okay, so here's actually an interesting question. Do I play Niv-Mizzet? Or do I play Ral because they're tapped out? I think I'm actually supposed to play Ral because they're tapped out. Niv-Mizzet being uncounterable tends to make it better to cast him when the opponent's not holding anything up. I think I'm more in the market for a land at this point than a Crackling Drake. My Drake's not actually that big right now, right? This Ral also digs me to some removal as well. Alright, wonder if we get another turn here. We do, that's exciting.
Decision time.
So I only have 6 mana here. I think I'm supposed to wait a turn on Niv since I have this negate. I'm also not that far off from Ral ulting here, which is nice. Hey, Laughing Riot, thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people you can ship your Bezo bucks to every month here on Twitch. Thanks for sending them my way. Crushing Canopy. Yikes. I assume we're going to see them fight over this Ixalan's Binding here in a hot second. That's a really interesting idea, Swift. I think that's a good suggestion. I like the idea of Angel of Grace over Crackling Drake. Crackling Drake's definitely hard-ish to enable in this deck, which I think makes yeah, I like that idea a lot actually. Hello, Seth. Hope you're having a good Sunday. What's going on, Mono Green Burn? That's an Twitch usernames. Mono Green Burn. Would love to start my turn. Looking for counter spells. Let's ditch that.
Decisions.
Maybe I'm supposed to take a backup Niv there. Just because they have this Crushing Canopy that we know about. Frilled Mystic here. Yeah. I think we're probably dead from this point. They've got Azcanta with this, plus Teferi. Things just slipped away from us a little bit too quickly there. I don't think I want Cleansing Dove in this matchup. I'm just going to go ahead and run it back. I don't know that Wilderness is strictly bad design so much as just like Nexus of Fate is probably a little bit too pushed. They put a little bit too many things on Nexus of Fate that made it put it over the top. If Nexus of Fate was a sorcery or didn't have its replacement effect, it would be perfectly reasonable. So let's make a note to turn Drake to Angel of Grace. I like that idea a lot. Hey, Mini Koopa, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. My opponent's just gonna bury me in cards, Van Helen. Like, if I pass with 2 counterspells up, they just, like, have 2 Search for Azcanta activations every turn. Yeah, the last version updated is generally my preferred. That Dantos Fellow, thank you for the 2 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I need to take a better photo. Christy took a really quick photo yesterday that I tweeted. I'm not really happy with it. Just wearing a scummy t-shirt. So I need to like get one in like a nice polo with like an actual background that's not just like my fireplace. Think that Arena will ever go the Hearthstone route of nerfing cards? No, I don't think so. I think that's probably too messy for Paper. I don't think that's something that they want for Paper Magic. Alright, they are also missing lands, so maybe we have a shot. I'm just gonna pass here. There's no reason to jam the Drake into the Absorb when I can Chemister's Insight. Gosh, this card would be way better as Angel. If they miss again here, that would be really good for us. Yeah, you can find the deck list on your screen via the Stream Decker widget. You can also type !deck in chat to get a link to the deck list. Deal. Fear is great. Let's go ahead and tuck this in. Reverse! Yeah, tier 2 subs get to bump a deck, Tumbledwear. Just drop me a DM and let me know which deck you'd like to bump up. It feels bad. This feels okay though, unless they have another one that feels pretty good. Alright, so this game is over. For people that haven't played with Niv-Mizzet before, Niv-Mizzet says untap, win the game. He's got a lot of text on here, but untap, win the game is contained in his text box. Hearthstone did not start as a paper TCG turkey. That's completely false. It borrows some ideas from the Warcraft TCG, but it definitely didn't start there. They're different games. I like the idea of Angel of Grace a lot. It has synergy with Lyra too, which is great. Yeah, Hearthstone has a number of mechanics that only work in digital. Saying there's no reason for Nexus to be banned in Best of 3 is patently false. There's a lot of really good reasons to ban Nexus in Best of 3. I agree with you that from a power level perspective, that Nexus shouldn't be banned in Best of 3, but there's a lot more reasons other than power level that you could want to ban a card. We are really bad at having 2 lands in our opener in our 26 land deck. I'm bottoming that because I probably want like a Deafening Clarion or something against the average opponent. For the record, Moby, something that you need to understand with Magic is that Magic is an incredibly high variance game, and even players like the MPL players are not winning most of their matches. A 65 to 70% win rate is considered a high win rate in Magic the Gathering. So even those players that are in the MPL, some of the best in the world, they are still losing a good chunk of their matches. So I burned the Lava Coil last turn on their 2-1 to deny them flipping the Legion's Landing. It's unfortunate that I haven't drawn another spell here. I did bottom the Sabotage, but I'm pretty happy that I did because I do need cheaper interaction here. This card can be a tough nut to crack. Not using my mana this turn is pretty bad for us in this matchup, but obviously we don't have an option to use our mana this turn. Yeah, of course I actually dyed my hair. If you watch Twitch streamers who make promises to do things, then hit goals and don't do it, you shouldn't watch those people. They're liars. I'm a man of my word. We're taking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here on this combat step. We are technically... Wow! Wow! They are just straight up not playing into Subtle Wreckage. Alright, well. 3 shots at a sweeper. Clarion kills these 2. They made the Marshal a 4/4 is the issue here. It does buy us a turn. If I Clarion plus Azcanta, am I dead? I'm taking 8, 12. I'm not dead if I Clarion plus Azcanta. Hey, Fab Man, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Keeping me employed here. Yeah, I can Warrant plus Clarion. I could search for Azcanta to give me more looks at a sweeper next turn, though, too. I think I probably want to do that. So, like, if I Warrant here, I'm only taking 6. Alright, I'm gonna Warrant. Warranting buys me another turn. Probably buys me another turn. Yeah, I don't play much Paper Magic anymore. Playing Paper Magic is expensive, and honestly, I find it kind of tedious these days. Digital Magic is a lot more convenient. They about to play another elephant? Holy crap. Alright, so now we're dead, right? I guess I play a land and hope they play around Settle the Wreckage. For the reference, this is a great example of why playing around Settle is super wrong most of the time. Just attack with your stuff. Like, not only do I not have Settle the Wreckage, but now they're giving me a bunch of draws to my sweeper effect. So, I think you lose way more games to playing around Subtle Wreckage than you do by playing into it. Paper Magic in a casual format is never going anywhere. Paper Magic's been driven by casual Magic players for an impossibly long time. Paper Magic will probably eventually go the way of the dodo as far as competitive Magic is concerned, because digital competitive Magic has so many important upgrades that paper just can't have, such as no cheating. Gosh, we're so close here, right? It really sucks that we drew 2 Clarions and didn't draw 2 Cleansing Novas, because Nova would have done them in. I can, like, Ixalan's binding this, and then Clarion kill these, but then I'm still taking 3 lethal. Yep. So, opponent gave us a lot of chances to kill them there and win the game, but we unfortunately were unable to punish them. This is a matchup where all my angels come in, and my extra spot removal comes in, and my extra Clarion comes in. Precog trims, Rail trims, some of these counter spells trim, the extra search for Azcanta trims. Probably want to cut. Honestly, Niv-Mizzet's probably not good enough here, right? Trim a Chemister's Insight too. What do we think of this? This seems pretty reasonable. I think that this is the best control deck in Standard. This is my preferred control deck in Standard. As far as the best, no, I don't have any concise data to say what's the best anything. So I'll tell you that I like this deck and it feels competitive, but is it the best? I don't know. What advantages do you gain from Jeskai that Esper doesn't have? Ways to kill your opponent. Niv-Mizzet's a heck of a Magic card. The I Wonder Weasel. Thank you for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping me around here. I think Teferi's really important. I think you can't board out all your sources of card advantage in matchups like this. Hey, Wonder Weasel. Well, welcome to a live one. Thanks for the support and helping keep me around. I appreciate it. Drawing the Hallowed Fountain there was great for us. Lets us absorb anything too scary this turn, and the next turn we can Chemister's Insight into Cleansing Nova, hopefully. They don't have blue mana yet, so even if they have counter spells in their hand, they're not going to be able to play them. I think I stop this. I don't want to bleed too much here early. While their deck lacks reach, like removal and stuff like that, it is worth noting, like, they have counter spells. My sweepers aren't always going to resolve. Someone was upset in chat by how I talk. Apparently people who have voices aren't things that they like. So does that mean we should get real intimate and talk like this? Do you prefer your Twitch streamers soft spoken so they can whisper those sweet nothings into your ear? You really prefer Twitch streamers like this, right? God forbid those big strong Twitch streamers have beautiful voices. You just want those sweet whispers. Listen, I get it. Probably way more than half the people that stream on this platform are very timid and quiet when they talk. I am not. This is a performance. I'm here to put on a show, and having a big, strong voice while I put on the show makes for a better show, in my opinion. So here we are. Pink ASMR is needed. Yikes! We are incredibly unlucky. Well, if they have another counterspell, we're probably dead. We're taking 8, 9, 10 this turn. If they put 2 permanents into play, we're taking +6. That's 2 permanents. Oh, am I dead? Is that lethal? I think that's lethal. Actually lethal. Actually, exactly lethal. Yikes! You know, this is where the magic happens, chat. The blue-white aggro deck is very good. White-blue aggro deck is very good at beating people that don't play Magic. That is why aggro decks are good. When Magic happens, the aggro decks run people over. Registering an aggro deck is basically acknowledging the fact that sometimes people just don't play the game. I agree that their negate was less than ideal. If I'd have hit the land, they'd have lost the game on the spot. Eminem, are you trying to say my knees are weak and my arms are heavy and there's vomit on my sweater already? But I keep on forgetting what we wrote down. On the stack with the 9-month resub. Thanks for the 3/4 of a year. Welcome back. I appreciate that. Hey, thanks for the half a year. Just up B. Thanks for shipping your Beza bucks back this way again. I appreciate it. Looks like Drake's most likely. Opt, blue-red land, chart of course, implies Drake's. So I had some mom spaghetti right now. You and me both. You and me both. I think I just let this happen. Definitely, like, this is a kill all the threats matchup from our side, basically. They only have, on average, 10 to 15 threats or so I want to save my counterspells for their actual cards that kill us and not their setup here. It is appealing to use my Absorb just to spend my mana this turn, but I definitely think it's much better to save it for their cards that kill me. Jeff looks like all of my RPG characters. God bless. And Soul, thank you for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Alright. Well, we'll put a distraction into play, I guess.
Well, let's see what
Yikes. Sometimes our beats with this deck have not been kind so far today. Lots of magic in both directions. Not enough lands and far too many. Sorry, Hippity, we got you. Well, if they don't have another spell here, if Ral gets to live this turn, that's real good. They have a shock? They have a shock, huh? Rats. I got really excited and thought we were gonna untap with Ral.
Talk to my lad.
Alright. We have double Clarion next turn, potentially. Definitely want to get this Lava Coil in while the getting's good. If we can stunt their attackers here for a little bit, these Chemister's Insights could pull us through this gap where we have too many lands. That being said, we're not going to be able to double Clarion through a Spell Pierce or a Dive Down next turn, so we're kind of just like crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. Oh, is that a good one? Gosh, I love this card. It's so good, chat. It's so good. So good. Do 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 do. They have like even if they have like double Lava Coil or Shock Lava Coil here, we still draw 2 cards, which probably finds us a way to deal with this Crackling Drake. Hopefully. One Cleansing Nova, please. Teferi, okay. How long am I going for? I'm planning to do a full stream day today. I'm going to be on for at least another 6 hours or so. So, we're dead to Dive Down here, unfortunately. Yep. Yep. Looks like we're dead. Oh, that's unfortunate. I played an untapped land, I believe. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I actually don't have any 1-mana spells to cast with Niv in this deck. This is a matchup where having Angels will be really good, so that's nice. Lava Coil seems fine. Niv-Mizzet is great. Deafening Clarion is quite poor in this matchup, as you saw that game. So let's trim some of those. What do I want to get rid of here? Perception is slow. I wonder if these Rals aren't good enough. They're pretty good in the Control Mirror, but maybe there aren't enough of those anymore that he's worth playing. What's a card I want to trim out of here? The Shivan Fire is probably worthwhile. Trim a copy of Chemister's Insight and a land tier, perhaps. Rage cut a land. I think I'm pretty happy with the number of lands that we have. Thanks, Dan. We try to stay organized around here at the very least. Yeah, I don't think Seal Away is super necessary. I think the mix of Lava Coil, Warden, and Justice Strike is like enough 2-mana removal. Adanto can be a little bit annoying for this build, but Adanto's been a little bit on the downswing right now. And, like, we just have Angels and Niv-Mizzets that can block Adanto, so I think that's fine. Definitely just gonna kill their thing while they get this good. No, I didn't board in Disdainful Stroke. This matchup is all about keeping their threats off the table, and Disdainful Stroke only stops like one of their threats, and not all of these decks even play 4 Crackling Drakes anymore. Some of them are just down on 3. Thank goodness we managed to hit a land drop. That's good for us. If we get to curve into these, the game should be over. This is pretty good for us. Looking for a land here for this, perfect. We're gonna get to curve Lyra into Niv. Lyra is pretty excellent in this matchup, and Beacon Bolt's their one way to really interact with her in a 1-for-1 fashion. And if they do take Lyra off the table here, they're gonna have a hard time dealing with Niv the turn after. They don't have the resources to bacon bolt Lyra. Lyra is currently a 5 and they only have 3 things in their bin. Why on earth would they dive down there? I'm just gonna go ahead and gain 5 here. I guess they want to get cards. They want to pump the Pteramander, right? That's why. Yeah, they want to get cards in there for Beacon Bolt or to pump the Pteramanders. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. They're playing that too. And that's why I ask questions like that, right? Like, is there a reason for this? Like, let's explore it. And the reason they did that is so they can get Pteramander going or get closer to Beacon Bolt killing my 5s. All right, let's see if my opponent is aware of Niv's text box. Unfortunate. Was hoping to hit an instant or sorcery there. Maybe I should have just killed the Drake proactively, but I really don't care about the Drake because it's only an X4. Gonna go ahead and pass. Astro Rugger, thank you for the brand new Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, this deck's definitely closer to the mid-range spectrum of something like Esper, which again, this is the reason why I like this build of Jeskai as opposed to something like Esper Control, because Esper Control is just so dirtily. So this attack says that they have dive down, right? So I didn't attack with the Lyra chat because I want to play defense here, because the longer this game goes, the more likely I am to live. That's why I didn't attack there. Interesting. They killed the Lyra instead of the Niv. It's so weird and so super negative to me that, like, I can say this is why I prefer this deck to a different deck, and people get all in a tiff and are like, stop flaming my deck. Why are you flaming Esper Control? I literally just talked about it being a personal preference and then gave details of why my preference is the way it is. I prefer decks that actually win the game proactively once they lock them up. And it's just a fact that this deck is more proactive than Esper. And so it's okay if you prefer Esper Control. That's great. Your subjective personal preferences might not align with my subjective personal preferences, and that's okay.
Keep up the pace.
Yeah, people, especially, and this is something that's very common in Magic and things that are expensive, people who spend a lot of money on something feel very personally wrapped up or invested in that thing. So it's a very human response to, like, hear someone say they don't like something that you've spent a bunch of money on and take it personally that they don't like that thing. We talk about Angel of Grease being great here, by the way. Seems quite Fantastic. I like my opponent identifying that they're done there, even with the rail in play. Angel of Great. It's a good nickname. I mean, that's why a lot of people who play a lot of really fair decks in Modern probably dislike me. Because I talk about fair decks not being great, and if you spent $1,000 or $2,000 in some case buying Tarmogoyf and Lily onto the Veils, probably gonna be a little upset. And don't get me wrong, a lot of really great Magic players have all been playing Esper instead of Jeskai, so maybe it's just, there's probably a good chance it's just better. I just know from my personal preferences, I really don't like playing decks that basically just don't do anything. The hair is on fleek. Is that what the kids say? On fleek? I kind of want a 27th land in this deck. Or like a treasure map. Maybe I just play a treasure map just to like have more card selection. We've definitely had a lot of stumble and dice today. Maybe I want a couple copies of Opt. Opt works well with Teferi. Maybe that's what I want. I just want a couple copies of Opt. I honestly don't think Kaya's Wrath is that big of a deal. The difference between 4 and 5 on the Wrath is not that much, and the fact that Kaya's Wrath has 4 colored symbols in it means that you don't actually cast it on 4 all that often. No, the blue-red deck's probably bad against enchantments. Brutesy literally just doesn't have cards to interact with them. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a couple ops in here. Move things around a little bit. I really don't want to go to 27 lands, but adding 2 to 3 ops seems unreasonable. Ral Zarek's been kind of middling, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut him out. Precogs felt a little clunky too. So, to give context on how decks get built and like changes things go on, this deck was originally playing Ral Zarek as a way to kill your opponent's Niv-Mizzets. But there aren't a lot of opposing Niv-Mizzets in the format anymore, so having main deck ways to kill Niv-Mizzet isn't as important anymore, which is why control decks and the cards they play kind of ebb and change as the format ebbs and changes around them, right? Like last season, I really liked Ral in this deck when there were more Niv-Mizzets, but with that card being less prevalent, Ral becomes less important. We've not played Mono Blue recently, no. Like most things, it's in the deck queue and we'll get there eventually. Like this hand with Op sounds really good, right? Like, super excited to have an Opt here to help me dig for some lands. Sphinx of the Foresight, what are you doing, opponent? They scried 3 to the top. Alright, looks like Mono Blue. Thanks, Stevie. This archetype has a lot better tools than Beacon Bolt to kill large creatures. I'd much rather just like have another Ixalan's Binding or another Justice Strike. So I'm going to go ahead and play this land and pass here. And what I'm going to do is, when they attack with this Mistcloak Herald, I'm going to go ahead and Warrant it. And then they're going to counterspell me or protect their creature in some way. And then the following turn, because I have 4 lands, I'll be able to Lava Coil it and then Justice Strike it. So my opponent's going to need 3 pieces of protection for their Mistcloak Herald to be able to keep trucking along here. And it's, while they could have 3 pieces of protection, it is unlikely that they have 3 pieces of 1 mana protection. So, like, we could be sad here, but odds are the Mistcloak's getting off the table this turn. Fantastic. And if they don't keep that Curious Obsession creature going in this matchup, they are just going to die most of the time. Especially with Niv-Mizzet. This is another matchup where Niv-Mizzet is just absurd, right? He just lets us not have to kill all of their stuff. Chirp. Chirp. Bye, friends. Hey, Snacks. Thanks for the Prime support. There's a lot of great people you can chip that to every single month on Twitch. Thanks for sending it my way this month. I appreciate it. Chirp. Ooh, check out some of my options. I'm probably just trading Niv for this Tempest Shin. I think with the Teferi in hand, I'm okay to just concede here. What on God's green earth is that? Yikes. Alright, well, I guess I'm doing this. Oh, this doesn't actually kill this, right? So I missed a point of damage on my opponent here. Probably doesn't matter. This is just like a weird blink of an eye. I'm gonna bottom that, looking for more instant speed or cheaper removal to do things. I mean, a blink of an eye is not that uncommon. So, a 2-mana return target thing to its owner's hand is like not something is not that uncommon out of mono blue. I guess if they have Merfolk Trickster here, I'm actually dead. I'm not dead to that, though. I guess I'm gonna have to Ixalan's Binding next turn, huh? Man, that was such a close game. The double bounce spell was really good there. I don't know if I'm just supposed to jam Niv-Mizzet again there. It's possible I'm just supposed to jam Niv-Mizzet again there. To bring in all my removal and sweepers. Get to cut some of this clunky card draw. And counter spells that aren't quite fantastic. To bring in more flying blockers. Hey, 2 for 2. Thanks for the brand new Prime support there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Can a mod fix that? That should have been a timeout. I need to slow down and make sure I'm clicking the right buttons this morning. Mono Blue's very good. Yeah, I could have played around dive down there at the end. Honestly, like, even if they have the dive down at the end there, I like block and then they blow out my block and like still have the Jhin, and then like they have more chances to draw other things. Yeah, Mono Blue is one of the best decks in the format. Yeah, generally speaking, you have the easiest way for me to explain to you why you shouldn't go over 60 cards is, regardless of what deck you're playing, you have cards in your deck that you really want to draw more than other ones, right? Like there are cards in your deck that are just better than other cards that you're playing regardless of the matchup. So obviously this hand's banking on hitting a white source of mana. I think I've been that looking for a white source. You look like the stock enemy raider from Borderlands. God bless. So I expect this won't resolve, and then hopefully we'll find a white source next turn and have Justice Strike or Clarion resolve. Alright, survey says... Yikes. They don't have us under a super fast clock at least, so if we find our way into lands, Lyra and Niv-Mizzet are definitely cards that can claw us back into this game. It's not a white source, but I think it's worth keeping. Let's see if they have another dive down or not. Alright, no dive down's good for us. Is 60 a magic number? Yeah, 60 is the minimum. You can't have less than 60 cards in your deck. 40 is the minimum for limited. So if you're playing draft or sealed, you should play 40 cards. If you're playing constructed, you should play 60. Probably dead at this point. I kind of need to draw something else that can generate a double spell turn next turn, but with two islands in play, I'm pretty far off of that. Then do a counterspell here. Yeah, they're gonna fart this and pop off. Yeah, I think I had a better decision I could have made in the first game when I played the Ixalan's Binding instead of the Niv-Mizzet on the final turn, but this game we just kind of got run out. The fact that I missed a land drop on turn 3 and was missing white was definitely the death knell. Their hand was a little bit too aggressive, and then the lands we ended up finding ended up being more islands, which didn't let us play the Niv on time. Why let them untap before Justice Strike? Because they only had one land tapped. So it's just like, doesn't matter, Mini Koopa. In a world where we could beat a counterspell, it's better for us for them to play a counterspell in their upkeep, but we actually just can't beat a counterspell there, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I agree. The fact that we couldn't double spell there is a pretty big deal. Well, the binning the binding there didn't matter, because the protection in the first game that they had was dive down. Just like completely irrelevant. Alright, so how aggressive do I want to be with this Clarion? Probably pretty aggressive, honestly. I think I want to just slow them down. Pretty good for us. I get to go ahead and cast Opt and then Warrant the Growth Walker away, and then untap and play Teferi. It's like pretty reasonable for us. I like the opponent just being like, you know what? I just gotta get this. Pressure into play. Cleansing Nova. Yeah, that can stay right there. Okay, so this is why I opted before playing the Warrant. Because I have Cleansing Nova on top of my deck, I am not going to play the Warrant. Because these two together, I guess if they have a Jade Light Ranger, even if they have Jade Light Ranger, they don't kill Teferi, right? Because Teferi's gonna untap my lands. So if they have Jade Light Ranger to pressure my Teferi, I can then warrant this. But if they don't have Jade Light Ranger, I just like Cleansing Nova and clear the board. This attack on Teferi here is really good for us because it implies that they don't have a way to exile him or take him off the board otherwise. All right, this is probably a concession, Nova, I would have to guess. Oh gosh, we drew a 3-mana counter too.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Bye, Felicia. I appreciate an opponent understands when it's done. I think I want Angel of Grace in this matchup for pressuring their planeswalkers. Stroke and Sabotage seem fine. Lava Coil is great. Cleansing Nova is okay. Niv is fine, but not to the point where I want a third copy, I don't think. I don't think Deafening Clarion does quite enough here. How do I... Maybe I don't want the Sabotages. Maybe I just want Stroke. 7 counterspells might be too many. Do I want Ixalan's Binding in this matchup? Ixalan's Binding on Krasis is, like, pretty reasonable. It also turns off Vivian. What's going on, Distinction? Hope the rest of your day looks up. Absorb versus Binding. This card's a little expensive. I'm going to cut these. I have Grace plus Niv-Mizzet to pressure their planeswalkers, and I have plenty of removal for the Krasis, so let's try this. If you've been subbed for more than 2 or 3 hours and you can't get into the Discord server, you're probably just looking in the wrong spot. You need to be on your desktop version of Discord. You cannot join from mobile. You can chat on mobile once you're joined, but you can't join from mobile. Log into your desktop version of Discord and then click Connections and you'll be able to see the server there. So unless you just subbed, you should definitely be able to see it. It syncs once every hour or so. Yikes. Okay, so Glacial Fortress is like the worst draw in our deck because like we want to draw lands, but we need them to be red sources. This game was a little speculative. Thankfully, their start's not aggressive, so like the Absorb plus Angel of Grace could very reasonably buy us time till we find a red source. Stop it. I think I just go ahead and pass here. Hey, Neckbeardo, thanks for the 6 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Sure. Things this is not. Vivian Reed this turn. Weird that they sequenced that to be after combat. Maybe they were hoping I'd play a removal spell out. So I played the Steam Vents even though they didn't know about this card, because this way if I draw another red source, I can play Niv-Mizzet next turn. Yeah, that's an update in this patch, Gabriel. That shows you which cards your opponent's aware of. Is there sometimes a reason to not counterspell a duress? Yeah, sometimes. So I didn't play the Angel of Grace to block here, because then if they play Vivian, I can't kill her this turn. I can't attack her for 5. I'm gonna play this out now, hoping to rip a red source for the Niv-Mizzet. Just have a Vraska's Contempt here. Sure. If they have a Chupacabra or Vivian, I'm going to be a little bit sad here, but I really don't have anything else going on, so I think I just like play this and hope for the best. Vraska Relic Seeker. Well, that's better than Vivian for us, but not by a lot. What are my thoughts on the new deck building interface? Is the deck... So, like, I know they did some changes, but, like, the deck building interface isn't really that different than the previous deck building interface. They still haven't added the one feature I really want the deck builder to have, which is I just want the panels to be resizable. I just want to be able to click the bar in the middle between where my deck is and where the other cards are and just, like, drag it up. They did hide your number of wild cards, didn't they? So the fact that they have 6-mana Vraska actually makes Ixalan's Binding worse in this matchup, because if you Binding Vivian, they can then play Vraska and kill the Binding, which is not ideal. The fact that they have 6-mana Vraska kind of makes me want some more Sabotages in my deck, especially on the play. That's true. That is a meaningful upgrade. That upgrade wasn't on my mind because I don't use that feature since I have all the cards. What's going on, Kaz? I always keep my promises. I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. I think Warrant's probably the cut. I think Negate is too many. Like, I'm boarding up to 7 counterspells here, and I think that's enough. And CRO, thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, the actual deck spot is too small, and that's easily solvable by making the panels resizable. No, those are probably terrible matchups, Yachidi. It's like that deck is almost certainly like tier 2 at best. Just like what it's doing on a raw power level is like worse than what a lot of other things are doing. Rude. Poor little Sabotage. Alright, different 3-mana counterspell. I'm gonna opt now. I'm gonna keep that land. I could have opted into like search for Azcanta there, which is like reason to wait. We're in an okay spot here. I'm gonna get to Chemister's Insight and gas up a little bit next turn. And then I have Cleansing Nova and Angel of Grace as like catch-up mechanics here, which is nice. We did just get dumpstered by Mono Blue, but I agree with your assessment that on average, this deck's pretty reasonable against Mono Blue. I'm just supposed to do this. I think it gets a counterspell out of their hand, which is like meaningful for us. I guess if they untap and Planeswalker me, I'm a little bit sad. But if they don't untap and Planeswalker me, we're in a pretty good spot. This is a wonderful draw since I have this Absorb. If they don't give me something to absorb this turn, we'll Chemister's Insight off the Hallowed Fountain. What could you replace Azcanta with? Treasure Map? Treasure Map's the only thing that's close to doing what Azcanta does. So kind of hoping to draw another Cleansing Nova here. Because they have Vraska's Contempt in their hand, I'm not going to flash in this Angel to block. I'm just going to Chemister's Insight plus hold Absorb this turn. They're not going to call it Arena Modern because the new format's going to be played on more than just Arena, chat. The new format's likely going to be played everywhere Magic is played. Wow, that's brutal. All right, I guess I have to absorb this now. So absorb your draw 3. Are spells good? I feel like spells are good. I like spells, chat. Yikes. We should call it Frontier. Well, we're dead to Disdainful Stroke. And, like, they have a Memorial to Folly in place, so they're gonna get to, like, pick back up the other Crisis that's in the bin this turn, which is unfortunate. Alright, that means we're no longer dead to a counterspell, which is nice. I get to Lava Coil this, and then if Angel of Grace gets Disdainful Stroked, I can Justice Strike the Landwar Elf. The Sultai deck is very good. It's one of the better decks in the format. It's been one of the better decks for a while. Like, Green-Black was good last season, and it gained another good tool. We are super behind at this point. We really need a way to generate some actual card advantage. Some sustained card advantage. Looking for, like, a Teferi or a Niv-Mizzet. Niv-Mizzet might not even be good enough. There's probably a Planeswalker in our future. Woof. You brought me lunch, Declan? Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you for being good for Mom. Thank you, wife.
Who said he was being good?
Who said he was being good? Well, he hasn't been down here yet, so... I think... So, we're technically not dead this turn, but, like... We're basically dead. Yeah, we can be cute and Justice Strike our thing and then go to 10 and then go back to 3.
Being on the camera and saying hi to them.
You want to say hi to the internet?
And play with you.
You say hi?
I'll play with you.
Do you say hi?
I'll play with
Yo, you want to play?
I'll play down.
You can come down and play in a little bit, okay?
When
Dad needs to eat his lunch right now, though. Daddy's getting dumpstered, Declan. We're getting dumpstered. You say we're getting dumpstered? Getting dumpstered, yeah. Alright, so Jeskai control was a little bit medium as far as the record was concerned today, but it's tough too, right? Like, I definitely think adding Opt was a good addition. It helped smooth out some of our draws a little bit, but at the same time, we just had so many matches today and games where I just, like, missed my third land drop and died, or just, like, flooded a little bit and died, and just, like, lots of magic happened. So, like, the important thing to remember when you're looking at the matches that we played is, like, we only played, like, what, 3, 4, maybe 5 matches at most? So, like, that sample size isn't really statistically meaningful or relevant. So, like, that's definitely not big enough to, like, weed out the games where we got kind of unfortunate as far as variance is concerned.
Declan.
So,
The internet
I think...
wants to know what you think of Daddy's hair.
What do you think of Daddy's hair?
Do you like it?
Yeah, you like it? Is pink fun?
Yeah.
You think Mom's hair should be pink too?
I think it's actually for baby.
Oh, pink's for babies? Where have you seen a baby with pink hair? A cuz? Alright, that's good. Good sound. You're just like Twitch chat, because. Alright, Alright, we're gonna wrap with Jeskai control. I'm happy, even though our actual result was mediocre. I think I'm happy with where I ended. It might be right to shove a 4th Teferi in here just because Teferi is great, but let's go ahead and move along here. We're actually going to be playing another Jeskai base deck next, but this one is a little bit more combo focused.